Hello and welcome to the Success Lab podcast with Christoph and Tim. Hello, Christoph.
Hi, Tim.
For everyone who does not know this podcast yet, we make topics like motivation, personal development, health, and life satisfaction more graspable, and break down knowledge from different sources. And also use our personal experience in a practical way. We want to inspire you guys on this journey so we can strive together for improvements as a community and become the best version of ourselves. Today, we're going to talk about sport, physical exercise, physical health, and nutrition. For this, I will ask you, Christoph, right away, what are your habits and routines in the topic of sports, and what can you tell us about your lifestyle?
Well, thank you very much for the first question. I really have to say that currently my sport and physical exercising habits are in a development phase because in the last months when I wasn't here at home but around the world, I had very inconsistent exercising habits. So that's why I'm in a bit of a developing phase. But before that, my habit in doing taekwondo, doing martial arts, was quite dominant, which is not right now. And I have a little bit more focus in the gym, going to the gym 3 times a week. That's a habit that I do consistently since the last like 3-4 months, since I'm back home, and it's working quite well. I do those 3 splits. One is pull, one is push, and one is back and abs, and a little bit of shoulders because it's a little bit less overload and more for physical therapy because my joints are not that good. I'm getting old, Tim.
Okay, I have to ask, what about legs? You didn't say, is it in push and pull included?
I don't train legs in the gym.
Mhm.
I go for a run once or twice a week.
Additionally to the three
Additionally,
times.
yes, especially now because I'm training for some runs and hopefully also marathon next year. But yeah, running has become not my passion, but it's a thing I have to do, and I think I get a little bit of discipline from it. So doing the things I don't want to do and I still
Yeah.
do it. I think there's a lot of mental strength also behind it.
I want to jump in here with the running because
Jump.
I think that's a super, you made a very good point here, and I totally agree. I kind of hate and love running at the same time. It's like one of the worst things to start off, and
Yes.
like I just I kind of don't want to run, but it's like one of the best feelings on the other side when you are running and after running. You literally feel like you're on the top of the world, and when you're already running like 9 kilometers, like you are in the zone, you are running, you're like a
Hmm.
machine that doesn't want to stop.
Yes.
So I do think running is like, for me at least, is like one of the best things um to to train your own commitment to something or train your own strength, willpower. It's
Yeah.
willpower also.
Yes. One quote, I don't know from whom it is. We will write it into the description. But self-esteem is keeping promises to yourself. And when you tell yourself, "Yeah, I will run 10 kilometers," so you put yourself to a higher goal, and then you achieve it. This does so much for your psychological health and your mental health, and also your self-esteem.
Yeah.
And also you pointed out the feeling after the run. This is for me the only thing that brings me or motivates me for the next run. So it's quite
Mhm.
addictive. While in being in the process, I really don't like it. I mostly hear podcasts, so it's kind of efficient time also.
Mhm.
But in the near past, I also ran without any distractions, without any headphones and music, and it's a completely different thing where you don't have the
Mhm.
distraction but only you yourself and your voice, your inner voice that is telling you that's bad for you, stop it, your knees hurting, and then you come up with some weird shit stuff, I have to say, because when your knee hurts a little bit and then your brain says, your leg is gonna die off, you have to go to the hospital, and then you have to cut off your leg because you ran and you didn't give any attention to the pain that is your brain sending to yourself. You have to listen to your body. Stop that nonsense. Don't run. Walk. Go home. Eat good. And this dialogue is also, I think, on one side very therapeutic, on the other side,
Mhm.
quite healthy for your self-discipline. So
Mhm.
yeah, running is also a big part right now from my habit.
So it's you shouldn't go too far. Obviously, you want to train your own like your own willpower, and you want to go more than last time. You kind of want to push your boundaries, but you shouldn't go too far to make like anything like lastingly bad, like your
Yes.
knees or anything else. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But but your brain, your inner voice is sneaky. It
It is
it
sneaky,
it tries everything.
but this is like you still need to challenge it because for me it's usually I run like X amount of like distance. For example, last time I was running 10 kilometers, and then it's quite interesting because like you're running, and obviously the beginning is always tricky, but when you're like running five, six, seven, it's all good. And then you're coming like to nine and 10, and then motivation drops
Hmm.
because you're like where you have been, you did that, and now it's like more. And this is then the challenging part to get even more. So that's also something how you like literally can work and you kind of compete to yourself.
Hmm.
And that's what I like it like most. Like if I wanna have one sentence statement to put all this together, is like you compete to your previous self. So
Hmm.
we should always compare ourselves to who we were yesterday. And this is like what we can do with running. So last time I was running X and now I should be running X plus two or three.
So last time you were running 10 kilometers. So the next time you tell me you were running, you will run 13, right? Is that a
Yeah.
commitment?
I mean, actually, last time I was 12, so I
Really? That's
must
nice.
be 15. Yeah, let's do 15.
Okay, let's do 15. Oh, crazy. Okay, we get some commitments here. Very
Yeah.
nice. And one part that is right now developing, I'm still practicing
Mhm.
Taekwondo, but
Oh, yeah.
I'm quite interested in switching to Muay Thai, so Thai boxing. So I'm trying out some schools, and it is some kind of New Year's resolution, but not the bad
Mhm.
kind. But it's just a thing I said, yeah, I will try out a little bit more consistently in
Mhm.
in Vienna to try out a little bit of Thai boxing. And this workout is very good. So I think if I do Thai boxing more, then I will go less to the gym and don't have that many resources in running, for example.
Mhm.
Yeah, because it's a quite a dominant
So
uh,
where are you doing this? Thai boxing.
in a boxing gym.
Mhm. So you're gonna sign up, or do you really
Yes,
have a membership?
I
Okay.
don't have a membership. It's quite costly, so that's
Uh-huh.
why I need a financial plan first.
I
Yes,
see. I see.
but already have
You
one in
can.
mind, and but don't want to do any commercials yet.
Okay, I see. For everyone who lives in Vienna, or Austria, and we're not sponsored by it, but you can use my clubs. You know my clubs, right?
No?
So my clubs is actually pretty cool. I have not tried it out, but I actually am looking forward to do so, at least for like 2 months or something. And my clubs is a platform that you have to subscribe to. So it's like a monthly fee you're paying, but then you're like allowed to do four in one in the cheap model, or up to as much as you want to go to any of the sport providers. So the sport providers range from like yoga,
Mm-hmm.
over Thai boxing, um, until like climbing and paddleboarding. So it's literally everything you can think of. And for people that are not like going there like 5 times a week and are not super commitment, even if you want to go to a gym, but only like you're really just starting like once a week or something. You could even do that because you have like a lot of flexibility with other things, and you can try out dance lessons. So I'm thinking about that also in consideration of yoga, because I don't want to go like have like a huge membership just for for like yoga or John Harris is too expensive for me, in my opinion. So
Yet.
I will say it again.
Yet, right?
Yet,
It's not
yeah.
expensive yet.
Um, yeah, for me it's also a different aspect, but this is not important here right now. So the thing is, I might try this out, and maybe Thai boxing you should also look into. And for everyone who is listening, this is definitely something in the area of sports to be acknowledged.
That's really cool. I have to be honest, I just opened it. And there's a membership for like $50 or something, and you can train like once a week.
Mhm.
And when you say you have the possibility to also train something like a paddle or something like this, a little more exotic sports, then it's of course worth the price. But also, yeah, you have the opportunity to try out a lot of stuff. And I think there's also a membership, not my clubs, but from the sports institutes for university students, which is also quite cheap, and you can
Yes.
try out a lot of stuff, which is quite cool. And a friend of mine tried it out, but it is not made for people who want to do something seriously. So
Hmm.
focus on one thing. And I'm
Yeah.
also quite picky, I think, on the Thai boxing gym, especially because of my Thai roots. So because my mother's from Thailand, the Thai boxing gym has to have a lot of traditional and authentic traits to it. Yes.
Yeah. Up to this point, my clubs and those things are probably, like you said, just to get into it and
Mm.
try out different things and be active. That I think for me, like be active and do something, but not like commit 100% so much. If you want that, you probably like have to look into that more deeply.
Yes. But giving back the question
Hmm.
of what your sports routines are, also nutrition, a little bit of a shout out and appreciation because not many people know, I think, but the discipline in what you're doing and how much energy you put into the discipline you're doing is quite astonishing, I have to say. Because I have to say, especially in sports wise, you are the most disciplined person I know next to my grandmaster in Taekwondo, maybe. He's
Oh, okay.
badass. He's really cool. Okay. And he's 50 years old. But I really have to say, in nutrition and also your workouts, I would love to have a very deep insight into your discipline and your workout routine. Go.
Oh, okay. Okay. Thank you, first of all. That's very nice to hear. So you said you have like you said three things. So you said Thai boxing, running, and working out,
Mhm.
weight training. So actually, my routine or my sports life also looks similar, I would say. So not Thai boxing, but at the moment it's like working out in the gym, which is weight training. Um, I'm actually doing this about, I would say, 5 times a week,
Mhm.
5 times a week on a regular basis. Sometimes it's more like four, sometimes it's six. Um, yeah, it is quite funny because for me, I'm like, when you said like 3 times, which is not bad, right? Like I don't want to say anything against it, but for me, it's like if I do only 3 times a week, I really feel bad about it, and
About what exactly?
that's interesting.
Interesting.
Uh, just missing kind of like progress days. Like not even it's just like a habit that has been built up in the months and years.
Mhm.
Like I just try to basically always do something active and that includes usually like 5 times a week working out in the gym.
Mhm.
And if I then skip a day because of no reason, I really feel bad. But other people just work out 3 times, and yeah. So that's also something. Also, I wanna acknowledge at this point that um, if you work out like 5, 6 times a week, um, you also need to like rest more in order to get like the regeneration and make it really like worth it. Because like there's also a thing of overtraining and sometimes I'm a little bit afraid of that, so I always would like to really have enough sleep because otherwise you're like working out and the muscles want to regenerate, but they don't have the time. So,
Mhm.
and usually also like one thing to add again here, is from the research is working out like 3 times a week, working out 5, 6 times a week versus 3 times a week actually is not crazy much more effective because it's kind of like if you use the 80-20 rule, which you know the 80-20 rule, right? So 80-20 rule
But
for
explain it. Yeah.
80-20 rule is like 80% of the progress is made by 20% of the input, which could be time, money, or whatever. So if we apply this, and it is a great tool for everything, studying, working out, business, whatever. If we use this, actually 3 times a week is probably more efficient because it's just you still get like most of the gains, and your muscles are gonna be um, used like once a week and trained once a week with the 3 times split. Um, and you only work out 3 times in order to in comparison to five. One big reason why I still do like 5 times a week is actually also I didn't mention this before, is the mental game here. I just get pushed so much. Like for me, it is part of my routine. It's part of my um yeah, daily thing. And I get so much like willpower, energy, how you wanna call it. Like when I work out afterwards, I just feel way stronger. Not physically, also maybe a little bit, but more like mentally. So that's one big thing why I do this.
Mm-hmm. I but to also finish up the 80-20 rule,
Mhm.
that the first 80% are done with 20% of the effort, and continuing it, the last 20% is done with 80% of the effort.
Yeah.
And therefore, with the 5-6 times a week going to the gym, you acquire like 5-6% more, like you're at 86% or something like this. But this is
Mhm.
also quite rare because not many people are willing to put in the extra work, even though it's not as effective as just going 3 times to the gym. So it's it
Yeah.
makes the additional 6% more exotic,
It does,
more
and
special.
I think you have to have a reason for this additionally. If it's let's say 10%.
Hmm.
I want to say 6%. It sounds a little. So for this extra 10%, you have to have a why, and usually the people I follow on like weightlifters or like influencer in this subject, like on Instagram or on YouTube, they obviously make money with it, right? Like
Hmm.
they going to the gym like 6 or even 7 times a week. Usually it's advised to have at least one total rest day, so that's the advice from the industry and also from studies. So 6 times is totally fine if you have enough sleep. But some people do like that 6, 7 times, but they make your money, they make their money with it. So they have their why. So also one thing, when you're thinking of how is this person so disciplined on Instagram? One thing I actually realized is it is unfair to compare yourself with them, not only because maybe it could be genetics or other things, but literally they making money of it. Like they're influencers, that's their job. It's basically, you can think of it like, if you get paid, if your job is suddenly you have to work out, obviously you will be more motivated because you actually have
Hmm.
to do it for the money and you don't have anything else. So never obviously be like discouraged because other people on the social media are like so much further up there, and obviously there's also a big thing with Photoshop, and when you look at like the lightening in photos. So I just want to put this out here also to yeah, don't feel discouraged, but the opposite, actually, just feel encouraged to do your own thing and compare yourself to yourself.
And I have to say another example. I'm completely honest right now here. In the time when I was in Asia, so I was in Asia for half a year this year in 2023, and I worked out a little bit. Yeah, I had my
Hmm.
running shoes. I was running in Thailand and in Vietnam and in Indonesia, and I went to some gyms and tried them out, and I but but the feedback I got from people who I was texting, and people who I had a conversation with, and they follow me on social media, and they say, "Oh my goodness, how can you have the time to work out? It looks like you work out every day." And I was like, "No,
Yeah.
of course I'm posting because I'm proud of going to the gym or something like this, but it really appears even better than how it's put out there. So it's not only that the person is more motivated to post to the to go to the gym and to post on it on social media, but even if you just go 4 or 5 times a week to the gym and post it every time, it
Mhm.
seems better than it is pointed out. So it seems like they go every day of the week.
Yeah.
And if they go just half an hour per session to the gym, when you post it on Instagram, everybody thinks that you go there 1 or 2 hours.
Mhm.
So it's
Mhm.
even, yeah, it's like a speaker and emphasizer that makes it even louder than it's posted. So
Yeah.
no, I wasn't quite disciplined in Asia, and it was quite hard to get some exercise in. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. I think that's also one thing here, this speaking, this saying of the neighbor's grass is always greener.
Mm.
So when we're talking about sports and also like goals, which we'll talk in a little bit, um, be careful to compare yourself with others. Those things we just mentioned, it's super good to compare yourself to yourself with the weight training. You can do that with like weight overload. We will talk about this in a bit. And obviously, we just talked about the running as well, where you can increase your running speed and you can increase your running distance, which are two perfectly measurable metrics.
Mhm.
So to finish my part of like my routine thing. So one thing is the sport is the working out. So I talked about this. Second thing is also running. I do have to say here in Korea while I'm here, I do it less than in Austria. I when I did it. So and now it's actually freezingly cold, which is not totally an excuse. So I'm also obviously no one is perfect. We all know that. But I will still try to run one more time before I'm leaving.
And I have to say, unfortunately, it's quite unhealthy to run in a very cold environment because
Mhm.
normally after a certain distance you breathe through your mouth, and
Yeah,
it's really
and then it's
bad.
cold.
It's quite bad for your lungs.
So what's like the temperature, what I should not run with?
The most comfortable is like 10, 15 or something like this.
Uh,
And everything
okay.
below that, the less it is, the more harmful it is.
Yeah. I'm not sure. Maybe I will not run because of that, because you're totally right. And I don't want to get sick because I'm like I have to run one more time.
Yeah.
So I will be running in Austria again because I'm actually signed up for a like Hindernis parcours, like a marathon with like obstacles on the way.
Obstacle run, yeah, yeah.
Obstacle run. It's not a total marathon. It's like it's only 12 kilometers, so it's not much actually.
Is it a
But with the
Spartan race?
it's the Grazathlon.
Why didn't you invite me
Grazathlon.
to this thing?
Um, I did I not do that? I'm actually running with a different group, but you can probably
I
still
don't care.
join. You can still join.
Yeah, I know. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Let's leave it like this, huh?
Because the thing is, like, it's a team thing, and I believe it's
Oh, it's a
up to
team thing. Okay,
five. Yeah.
but then I have to say I'm not a team sports guy.
Oh, okay, okay. Yeah, we will talk about it, but it's not like normal. It's more of like a team thing. I mean, you still can challenge yourself again. And
Yeah.
last time I actually, as crazy as it sounds, I actually wanted to go in a second round because like honestly, like when you're pumped and when people like firing you up, 12 kilometers is not crazy much. Like, yeah.
As
So
an
next
obstacle
time,
run, I think.
eh, my friend and I, the other friend and I, we wanted to just go another time actually. So
Good.
let's see. Maybe I have to train and then maybe the goal would be then 2 times. But I will decide on that when I come back to Austria and start my training in
Hmm.
February. Um, and then the third thing I'm doing usually, um, oh no, that's not. I'm not doing usually. I wanna like maybe start that, like you said, the Thai boxing. I'm actually about. I'm thinking about Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So I'm
Oh,
thinking of that. That's also one thing I can do with my clubs, at least try out. That's one other reason.
yes.
So we can try out sports if we just wanna look into it. Check it out.
Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Yes.
You never told me that, right? No,
I probably haven't, yeah. I probably haven't.
it's
Yes.
really cool. Yeah, maybe let's afterwards let's talk a little bit more about Brazilian
Yeah.
Jiu-Jitsu because it's
And
quite
also
interesting.
we can go there together and try it out if you are down too.
For me, it's a no-go because of my bad joints and shoulder.
Ah, okay, okay,
Oh
okay. I
yeah, for
see.
you too, Tim.
Okay, okay. Okay, let's oh, the shoulder. Yeah, I
Yes,
will yeah, let's talk about this, but just to wrap it up. So two things I'm really doing regularly is the working out and the running. And then in winter I like to go skiing and yeah, that's my sports habits and stuff.
that's really nice. A big thing that we both haven't tackled is mobility training
Mm-hmm.
and
Okay.
stretching. Do you implement this into your training sessions, and how do you do this?
So back like a long time ago or some time ago, I didn't do any of that.
Mm-hmm.
That was not good. So I actually was injured with my shoulder, not while doing weightlifting, but it was just an accident, just an incident for people
A
who
little
know.
incident.
Just an incident. Um, yeah, comment if you understood the reference.
Yeah, yeah, let us know, please.
So after this happened, my shoulder was dislocating a lot of times, and then I did like physiotherapy, and I started doing my things before the workout. So actually now I'm doing like every day, let's be honest, successful rate like 90%, so not like 100%, but like 90% of the days, I will do the warm-up thing before sports, or if I don't go to the gym at that day, just like that. So I will mobilize my shoulder. For me, it's mostly about the shoulders,
Mm-hmm.
um, and just a little bit of like joints and wrists and like maybe the waistline stuff. So those things. I did yoga here, so I implement. I have like a little routine, but I will probably say it's not a total stretching routine
Mm-hmm.
as itself. What's your experience and what do you do and what do you suggest doing?
Well, unfortunately, I'm also not on top of the of my stretching game, but it was quite good while doing taekwondo.
Hmm.
So like 1/4 or half of the time we are doing mobility and stretching routines, and also the exercises enhance your mobility. And it's so important. I have to say that my neck and my shoulders is always quite tense because I don't do as much of mobility training. But yeah, it's really important. A lot of stretching. And I also didn't hear in your mobility routine that you stretch your legs. And I really have to say that in the time when I was a Taekwondo instructor and like hundreds of students went through my hands, and in the moment when a child, like a 7 8 year old child, walks through my door, I can tell if this person is doing playing soccer or football because they have so little mobility in their legs. And in the most, I have, sorry to hate on sports clubs, but apparently they don't invest so much time into stretching, and therefore I have a lot of work to do to stretch them a little more. And even children of this
Hmm.
young age are already so stiff in everything they do. And yeah, that's why I put a lot of focus into stretching and mobility, especially in my Taekwondo career. But also now I'm stepping it up a little bit to
Hmm.
also prevent an incident on my shoulder because I also have
That's
a
good.
luxation. I don't know how it's called in English. A very loose shoulder, which can also
Hmm.
dislocate quite fast
Yeah.
and easy. Yeah, so
Yeah.
mobility quite interesting and very important. David Goggins. I heard David Goggins when he's watching a documentary or so, or yeah, watching some content every day. He's stretching and he's in a split, like in a holding split in the air for
Hmm.
two
Hmm.
hours straight.
That sounds crazy.
That's another level. We don't have to
Yeah.
do this,
Yeah.
but yeah, but that's the thing. So also David Goggins, he didn't really focus on mobility training and only on strength. in the
Hmm.
past years and decades, and now he's really focused on it and spends a lot
Yeah.
and invests a lot of time into his mobility. It's really
Yeah.
important. It prevents you from so many like physical diseases and stuff when you're a little bit older. And as I already see, it starts with our age
Hmm.
or even younger. So
Yeah, it does.
right now you already see the results of having mobility training as a child or not.
Yeah. Yeah.
Urgency is really high and the knowledge is very little in our society.
Probably talking about this, they should also implement those things in physical education in school because
Yeah. But then
I'm
you
pretty
also
sure
have to
they
look
don't do
at the
that.
physical education teachers,
Yeah.
instructors, like PE
Yeah, they
teachers. What the hell?
yeah.
All of my,
Yeah.
yeah, all of my physical, they couldn't touch the floor with their hands, with
Uh-huh.
the legs straight.
No, no, no. I mean, one guy did, but yeah, I think it's a
Doppelständig.
big problem. Um, the uh, the education system. I think we
Yeah.
should. I want to talk about this another time. I think
Yes,
education
that's
system
a
is a big
complete
topic.
podcast episode, right?
Yes, definitely, definitely. Okay, all right. So stretching and mobilizing super important. I think we have to step up our game here, and also to note here, it's not only like if you want to do like strength training, that's fine, but you should switch it up. Like Christoph just said, we want to like rotate through different like focus areas.
Mm.
I just listened to one podcast from Dr. Andrew Huberman where he was talking to Dr. Galfin. He's like a sports um yeah guy who is like has done research in that field and trains like professionals, and he's also like saying like you should have like different focuses around the year. One time only strength, then maybe cutting, and then mobility, and then again bulking and stuff. So switching up is important. I think also switching
Mm.
up like the different exercises in the gym is important in order to make the muscles more, yeah, not not get used to it in simple words, basically, because the muscles can also get used to it, and then the progression will slow down.
Yes, yes, for sure. Maybe you were talking about your why and how important it is to have a why and goals in also in your physical habits, but also yeah, let's maybe talk about this one. What is your why in exercising?
Okay, I like that. So we're coming a little bit more to the goals now and how
Yeah.
to progress over time. That's one topic I noted down, and we want to talk about this. So I would say my why and my goals in terms of like for the weight training part and going to the gym is like to challenge myself to see progress and progress in terms of physical muscle buildup, but also like strength training. So I wanna progress here, and also I think if I'm honest, it also goes back to me as like usually being thought as someone who is like more like small and not very strong and not so much like the sports guy I
Mm.
used to be. And actually I'm proud now thinking that I get a lot of compliments saying the opposite now that I look kind of buff and I look sporty. So I do like this transformation. And this is actually the why, because like when I was younger, I didn't do a lot of sports, and and when I went to America, people in my class were jokingly saying, "Oh, when he comes back, he will be super buff." It wasn't true, but now I'm actually getting to this goal more than I was before. So I think that would be the answer to like why am I doing it, and it's also kind of like a challenge to myself. So it's a big goal to be more physically active and also like stronger and also look more sporty, and this is the way I want to go. So in terms of goals, I try to set like small achievable goals each semester or each quarter, because I think we need to have something graspable, something reachable. So like the end goal can be an inspirating factor, but in order to measure it, you have to set smaller goals that you can track.
Mm-hmm.
What about you?
No, 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 no. I'm not finished yet.
Okay, okay.
No, no, just kidding. But some like specific goals, and also, do you have also some goals for your running habit?
Yes, so I also had like a metric, not a goal. I mean, I had the goal of like, for example, five. With you, I did that. I mean, you're a faster runner than I am. We did like 5 kilometers in 25, which was super exhausting back then. And we did it in the freezing cold and then went to do an ice bath, if you remember.
It
That
was
was
so
crazy.
fun.
It was so fun. It was honest. It was crazy good. It
Yeah.
was like in the morning. It was such a memorable thing.
Yeah, it's really
So
nice.
like those kind of like mini goals to like do this in amount of time, or like 10 kilometers in like 60, which is not crazy much, but for me it was a goal, and then I hit the goal, and it was like I did in 58 or 57.5. So I was happy about that. So like always like little goals to get closer to where I wanna go, and also just like run like 15 or 16 kilometers next time. So
Hmm.
those kind of goals for like running. And then obviously with the weight training, I measure my muscle mass, and I bought like a scale where you also have like a hand thing, where then you get like impulses, like electrical impulses through your body, and with the resistance of the body parts, they can calculate what parts is water, what is muscle, what is protein, what is fat, and what is bones. And so I can actually kind of track like my muscle buildup, and that's pretty cool to see, because you
Hmm.
have like a visual or like a data that can actually tell you if you're on track. And from there, you can then build up bulking, cutting, whatever you want to do.
Do you want to already go into the specific terms, bulking and cutting?
Sure, we can briefly touch on it. So a lot of people will know about it, but there's also a lot of people that don't necessarily know exactly what it is. So just very briefly, bulking is basically the term of saying your goal is to build up muscle. And the thing with building up muscle, you need to have a caloric surplus. So you need to eat more calories than your body will burn. And that in the end means you will gain weight. And this weight is not necessarily only fat or only muscle. It's not possible. It's possible to build muscle in this surplus mode, but you will also have fat. And the the kind of food and the amount of protein and the amount of like working out will determine like how much fat and how much muscle you will build up.
Hmm.
Obviously, the perfect thing would be to get as much muscle as possible with just the least amount of fat as possible. And you want to do that by working out rigorously in the right way, eating enough protein, eating a good balanced diet, and not eating too much, because you only need a small surplus. It's called lean bulking. And all the studies prove that lean bulking is the way to go. In the end, it is the best thing. It's maybe not easiest, because you really have to count the calories, and you have to just put like maybe two to 500 different stats from different studies, but about like 300 calories surplus is already enough. So that's bulking.
Hmm.
And then cutting is kind of like the other side. You will probably have guessed it by now. Is when you deliberately have as less than your caloric goal, which is like a deficit, a caloric deficit. And again, you also don't want to overdo it here. Here, you maybe can go a little bit more, because in the end, you really want to get the fat away. You want to cut down the fat. Um, but again, in most people, and there are exceptions, but most people will also lose muscle on the way. But again, the idea of the whole bulking and then cutting thing is, in the long run, the muscle will go up and the fat down, because you will try to get more muscle than you will get fat in bulking on the one side, and you will try to lose less muscle than fat while cutting. So if you then add all the things together, in the end, you will lose more fat and gain muscle in the end. So that's the goal, to get like defined body and more muscle.
Hmm. Quite interesting. Maybe a little bit of another scientific fact that I've heard. Maybe you already also have heard about the 30-30-30 rule or something.
Not quite. I don't think so.
It's yeah, it says 30 grams of protein in the first 30 minutes of waking, continued by 30 minutes of low cardiovascular exercise.
Mm-hmm.
This should be the most effect. I don't know why. It should be the most effective way of cutting fat, only fat, because to liquefy or dissolve fat, it needs 120 minutes um of exercise, and to liquefy um lean muscle, it only needs like the first 30 minutes, something like this. So when you are trying to build up muscle, that muscle is getting dissolved in the
Mm-hmm.
first 30 minutes, the gained muscles, and then put back up. That was happening in the recovery.
Hmm.
You have sore muscles because your build up lean muscle is getting dissolved, and then you have to recover, and the muscle is getting back,
Mm.
growing back. So this is a never ending story, which
Yeah.
I've heard. So I really like this concept, which is by Tim Ferriss.
Ah, Tim Ferriss. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, honestly, I kind of could have guessed it because it sounds crazy, and then I should have known it's Tim Ferriss because he's doing crazy stuff. But I do admit, like a lot of the stuff, well, some of it work. I don't want to say everything. My personal opinion. My take, if I wanna I have to be honest here. Like the thing with in this industry, in this fitness industry, I think the fitness industry has the most amount of published studies and thoughts and techniques and quotes and whatever. And I just I don't want to agree or disagree. I don't want to do any of those because it's just too complicated. And I don't like when people just disprove. I mean, if they disprove it because they know it, it's good. But if they just say, "Oh, that's garbage," because I have had this, like this industry is so stacked with different opinions, and if you're not a specialist, you shouldn't think of yourself as that, and you shouldn't talk to other people like that. And I have had many people in my area that think so, and usually I just let them talk because they think they know, and I can tell them what I think, and that's good. But
Yeah.
we no one knows everything of that.
Yeah, quite interesting. And I also have to say that this 30-30-30 rule is not implementable into my routine right now. So
Hmm.
I'm also just going the wheel of the normal fitness guy.
Yeah, and those, like, I do think those rules and those systems are good because you have something to hold on to. Like most of the also like the all the what's it called when you're like diet, yeah. All the diets, they're like programs. The good thing about diets is they have like a system or like a program or like a time frame or like a caloric thing. You can quantize it. You have like numbers, you have like the 30-30-30. It's kind of even fun to do it.
Yeah.
That's the good thing about those things. But in the end, usually it's about like how much food gets in your body and how much do you work out, period. Like
Yes.
literally that's what the studies have proven. There are nuances, but in the end, like again, like 80-20, that's the thing. How much do you eat, how much do you work out,
Yeah. Yeah. And you're
and how much
mostly
protein you
satisfied
need,
if you
because
just
protein is the
do
fuel.
this. Say it again.
I said because protein is the fuel for muscle, you need to have enough protein, but that's
Yeah.
it, yeah. And you said,
That it's mostly sufficient to do this 80-20 rule. So if you
oh
just
yeah.
follow the concept of if you want to gain weight, eat more than you exercise. If you want to lose
Hmm.
weight, eat less than you exercise. And if you
Yes.
do this, you're gonna be happy. And everything else is just the add-on. So if you
Yeah,
have figured
exactly.
it out already, this principle, then
Hmm.
you can go more up into some higher rounds and higher techniques. But until then, just focus on
Yeah.
that. maximize this,
Yeah,
then you're
exactly.
fine.
Yeah. The only thing to add here is if you want to build up muscle, you need enough protein. Like in terms of food. We can also talk about food in a second if you
Mhm.
have anything else to add to like goals and goal setting, maybe from your side.
Mm, the goals are quite weird in my sense, I have to say. I think
Oh, okay.
all the gym and stuff, this is all more or less preparation for the martial arts activities I do. So it is more or less a preparation for this. It was
Hmm.
preparation for my championships, and it's going to be um, a preparation for the Thai boxing project I'm going to start. Mm. And there's some like little nuances. For example, a mutual friend, Steven, has said, yeah, I did like 20 pull-ups last month, and I was like, oh goodness, oh no, I thought I'm the sports guy. I need to be the one who makes the most pull-ups. So now my
Hmm.
goal is to do like 25 pull-ups or something like this in a set. So um and this really motivates me to focus on one specific muscle part. Or
Hmm.
also like the running. I have a run at New Year, which I'm going to do, and also a marathon maybe next year. So those are also goals which I can run towards too and
Yeah,
have as them.
really important.
But I really have to say that I don't have a specific goal for um, weight or muscle mass
Uh-huh.
or something like this, or a specific exercise. Um, yeah, I have a little bit of a focus also on my shoulder, I have to say. So all just
Oh,
half.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do like those kind of like challenges with other people.
Yeah.
You have accountability and it's also fun, like looking forward to like Sylvester run, like New Year's run. Like that's a cool thing.
Mm.
And also like my Grazathlon, like I will train for that. Maybe we'll do like group training or whatever. So yeah, I think those things are really motivating and that's important for goals.
Hmm.
One last thing from my side for goals would be um like that was all like macro goals, like for your journey, for like, yeah, goal setting, but micro goals for like the day when you're doing it. I'm talking here now specifically about the gym
Hmm.
and what I've seen for me and what I've also seen for other people I do work with. I always tell them before you do the set, tell yourself your goal for the reps. So I always, you also do that. I have to you write down what you did last time. So we all know like how much, how many reps did we do last time? And then obviously we want to be stronger or every time it's called progressive overload. So we want to do more. So that's the basic principle, right? And then when we did like, so let's say 10 last time, we should do at least 10, maybe more, 11. And when we talk about goal setting, we also should set goals that are reachable, but still difficult. Like it shouldn't be easy, but still like in the realm of reachable. So setting like 15 reps would be not appropriate, and there's no way I do it. And then one time I was working out with a friend. I was doing like bench press. So, uh, yeah, it's a very important exercise. And I had like two things that were like different that day and compared to other days. It was like, first of all, a friend was watching, so I had like a little bit more peer pressure. And secondly, I did those like mini goals for myself and said, okay, instead of like 10, I just have to do 12. And I put to my head, I will do 12, 12. Or like it was like 5 last time, I did like, okay, I have to do 7. So more, little, like literally like good more, but still reachable. And it was actually ridiculous. Like I was so much better than the other days. And it proved to me, first of all, there's always more in it. So with running, with this weight training, it's usually about a brain thing. And if you do the right things and use that, you can be so much more productive in the sports field as well. So those mini goals really helped me.
Little quote also from Arnold Schwarzenegger, most important Austrian who is known in internationally. Hey Arnold. He said that he starts counting when it hurts,
Mhm.
So the reps which you can do comfortably should not be calculated into your training. That's not training. It's
Okay,
only training when
I
it's
see.
really physical, when you really struggle, and then
Yeah.
you're shaking. That's a rep. I think also David Goggins has this point of view. It also sounds like him, but it's also quite interesting. And the progressive overload, so you always do more than you have done before. Okay, another quote. Let's do a quote fire.
That's good.
Um, it is who was that? I will put it into the description. But if you always do what you can, you always be who you were.
Mhm.
So yeah, which is quite simple, but it's also quite inspiring for me, and that's why I push myself on a daily basis to do stuff that I can't do. And if I say, yeah, last time I did 12, and I also had this, I went to the gym, and I was like, yeah, I do the bench press only like 6, 7 reps with this load, and then he says, yeah, do 12, and I'm like, no,
Mhm.
it's
Mhm.
funny. I cannot concentrate while doing this. And I also have a quite difficult relationship to bench press, I have to say.
Mm.
Why? Because one personal trainer I met, he said that it's quite bad for your elbow joints,
Mm.
and I also don't like bench press, so I excluded bench press from my training plan.
Mhm.
I know. Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Yeah. All right. Yeah, that's a good point to maybe transition from the goals to like a little bit more nutrition side and
Hmm.
foods and eating. Um, so mm, do you have any
I
topics
put
you want to
the
start with?
Yeah, I let you start because
Okay.
I can keep it short and simple from my side.
Mm-hmm.
I like nutrition is one of the things that I struggle most right now,
Mm-hmm.
to take the time, to take the resources, also money, to really have a consistent meal plan. Also, not just in a exercising or athlete perspective, but also just from a human perspective, to just eat a good nutritious meal 3 times a day
Mm-hmm.
or 2 times a day. But I think let's start with 3 times a day.
Mm-hmm.
And these should be nutritious, full with vitamins, non-processed foods, whole grain, protein, of course. But if I really have to say, and to be honest, if you don't do this on a consistent basis, like for the last 3 months without any exception, then you should also put your hands off any other dieting strategy or a little thing, supplement thing, which gives you like a 1% surplus. There, 80/20 rule. You
Mm-hmm.
need to have a consistent meal habit or nutrition habit. And if you have the base, then you can build up on it.
Mm-hmm.
And without that, it's just on a shaky fundament, and your house will break down eventually. Yeah, that's my side.
Yeah.
How about you?
Nutrition is a huge topic,
Right?
and I actually researched a lot and looked into like so many different things in my time. It's probably with the sports industry another one that is has so many studies like those two. It's crazy, so many different opinions. There was like this one book I read about like this eating compass, like the most, yeah, the best foods for your like personal health, and it's super difficult. Like I tried keto, I tried interval fasting,
Intermittent fasting.
intermittent fasting in English. Exactly. Thank you. You did that too, I think, Christoph, right? Yeah. I think the bottom line is non-processed. Like the most important thing is non-processed food and have a balanced thing. You want to have natural ingredients. You want to try to cook as much as you can yourself. Um, use, yeah, non-processed things. Also, when you eat meat, if you eat meat, but like more organically and less processed again, not like processed into like done food packages or something, prepare it yourself. So this is like one of the basic things. Obviously, vegetables is super important for nutrition. Like they have so much macronutrients that you need, like to be healthy. Um, Maybe even thinking about like a vitamin complex. That's what I'm doing. Is like it's in today's world super difficult to get all the vitamins the body need
Mhm.
with regular food. I mean, my nutrition advisor, I actually have a nutrition advisor. He tells me you always want to try to get all those things from like actual good normal food sources, and it is theoretically maybe possible, but it's like not really feasible if you do like if you have the job and you have this and you have that, like you can't always cook yourself. So with that, I kind of like ensure, okay, I get a good amount of vitamin from there as well, and then obviously you have the greens with the nutrition. So I always think about the plate as like three parts again. You have like on the one side you have the carbs, which should be you need carbs. You kind of have to yeah, if possible not processed carbs. And then you have the greens, which are vegetables. You have like micronutrients, and then you have the protein source, which could be meat or like also vegetarian protein source like tofu, for example. So you need all those three, and the balance is very differently advised from different sources. So I don't want to go too much into detail because we'll just be hated on from any source. But for me, the most important thing is if you want to build up muscle and you're working out, you need enough protein. So you don't want to skip that. And and yeah, so you have to look for the protein. And if you go out and eat, I usually think of like what do I get there and do I have to supplement afterwards? If do I have to eat something more protein rich afterwards or maybe a protein shake? Yes, I have to admit a protein shake is less of a good quality than like actual real good food. But sometimes that's the best option you have if you're in a foreign country where you just have to eat out and can't cook so much. So yeah, that's my take on it very broadly.
And to make it more clear, there is some kind of calculation method to calculate the protein intake, needed protein
Mhm.
intake. And just to make a comparison, how much protein in milligrams or something do you want to take in every day?
Yeah. So it again it ranges from like 1.5 grams of protein per kilogram to 2.5 grams of protein per body kilogram. So that's the general range what is advised from various studies. My nutrition advisor says 1.8. I'm actually doing 2.2 right now, so it's a little bit higher. I've seen my muscle is not growing as much as I wanted it, and I looked up and there is a lot of studies that also say it's not dangerous if it's not above 3 grams per body kilogram. But yeah, I think with 2 and 2.2, it's fine. Like it's not too much, and it will increase the chance of like protein synthesis in terms of muscle buildup. Again, I have to state here, I am not a dietitianist, and also actually no one knows it. Like literally no one in the world. Like I
Yeah.
100% I can tell you no one knows it for a fact. You will go on YouTube, you will find this bodybuilder. He says, oh, 2.5 it is. And then the other one, oh, there's study. Oh, 1.8, you don't need more than 1.8. And then there's Arnold Schwarzenegger. Like, no one knows it. I have to say that. Also, like, kind of to defend my point here, I'm doing 2.2 at the moment. That's my thing.
I see there are some hidden emotions behind the protein topic, but it's really
It
interesting.
is.
So 2.2 times your body weight. How much protein is that? How many grams?
So that would be okay. I weigh 82 kilograms. That would be then 164. No, no,
Yeah,
that's 2.0. Uh so yeah, wait, what have
yeah,
it
but
here?
let's say 64 grams.
So that would be 180.4 grams
How
for
could you
my
possibly take in 60 grams of protein in your normal diet?
in one
This is
meal.
Now in your diet on a day compared to a day.
No,
So
it's
it's
160, 160.
yeah, 160, I'm sorry.
Yeah, 160.
160. It's
How?
not possible for me.
That's what I thought. It's actually okay. I actually made an Excel sheet in Austria with all the different food options, and I went to like different stores and I like looked at food and the prices, and I literally had like a calculation thing. So
That's
you don't
Tim,
have
by
to
the
do
way.
that. That's me. You don't necessarily have to do that, but what you do have to do is like think about the different food options. If you wanna do that with protein thing, think about what gives you how much protein and stuff, and you should track it. So there is free apps for tracking. I'm using
Yeah,
Yazio, however you want to pronounce it.
it
I
looks
can
good.
link.
Yeah.
It's pretty good and it's free, and I will link it, or we will link it in the description below. You can literally scan the product and then it will put in like how much of all the macronutrients it uses and how much calories, and you will write down your goal for the day. If you want to cut, you have like a deficit. If you want to bulk, you have a surplus. So you can literally use this in order to track this cutting and bulking phase, and then also the protein. How? Now the question, how do you do that? You really need to look at like high protein sources, like I mean a lot of meats obviously. I mean for all the vegetarianists that's not an option, but meat is obviously a good source. Usually chicken is, that's like the non plus ultra for bodybuilders, like chicken breast. It's super good. It's very lean usually, and it's actually pretty cheap also. Like that's like the best thing. Tofu is obviously very good. I really in Austria, they don't have it here in Korea. I like skyr a lot. Very high, rich in protein, low fat. It's a yogurt, and if you add like berries or something, it really tastes fine, and it's super high in protein. It's actually quite cheap, so you really need to like layer in different things. Like start your breakfast with skyr, then have like chicken and maybe even a protein shake as well to like supplement, because you need this protein in order to like build muscle. And also one thing, if you have less muscle, it needs less protein to grow. So maybe those like also, again coming back to the very very hot topic of how much protein, it also depends on you as a person. Obviously, I forgot to say that. So it really like depends on you, like how far you are you in your journey, how much have you trained already, um, and then your food, of course, yeah.
Yeah. Quite interesting. And also
Uh,
also the meat part.
Tunfish.
Yeah.
Sorry, tunfish is one of the best.
Tuna.
Tunfish has a super high protein. I think the tunfish in the cans without oil, because oil is super much a lot of calories,
Yeah.
is like one of the best foods. Is like 30 grams per 100. Chicken breast is like about 20 grams of protein per 100. Egg white, if you can buy egg white in America, you can literally go to the store and buy egg whites. Here in Europe, you have to order it via online platforms. That's also good. Usually, I mean, you can drink it, but it's not good. But you can bake with it. So you have to be creative. In the end, for like a question, protein, be creative and look how you can get your protein.
Quite interesting. Yeah. So we have a good nutrition session with Tim today, which is really nice. Uh, yeah. Is there something else that we didn't tackle?
I, yeah, I think we got all of it we wanted to talk about. So I'm quite happy. I think I also learned a lot from you today, and I also got motivated again to do my stuff. It is maybe one last thing to like the whole goal setting and tracking. My my opinion is you need to have a why in order to achieve like those goals, because if you don't have a why for cutting or like a bulking or like getting in shape or going to the gym, it won't happen. So you need a why, that's one thing. And then you need to be consistent. And obviously it's easier said than done. That's why you need this why to be consistent. And then you should track and you should trust the process. So what I have found interesting, important for me is like it's not a thing that comes from one day to the next. You have to trust the process and you have to trust your own goal setting. So just do the things you laid out for yourself and go ahead and go ahead. And at some point you will reach your goal. So yeah, that's what I want to like conclude here. What do you have to say at the end?
I really like the process of if you're doing it, do it slow but right.
Mhm.
Um, until I implemented my working out routine, I heard about this concept of, this was like 10 years ago or something, when I told myself, yeah, I will go to the gym only 5 minutes, and then I force
Mhm.
myself to go back home. And that's what I did for the first days. And then I progressed it and progressed it, and rose up the time and the effort I put in. And therefore, I built up a substantial habit, which has like something to hold on to when
Mhm.
there are bad timings and a lot of stress, and maybe something else, something that could disturb your habit. The stronger it is, the better. And it's it suits very good our topic. It's not a sprint, it's a marathon.
Yeah,
So you don't want
it
to
is.
make one gym session which is perfect, but you want to do hundreds of gym sessions for the next decades, which are good.
Mhm. Yeah,
And yeah, then you will profit, I think, in every area of your life.
very true. It is a habit and you need to build it up slowly.
Yes.
All right, I think this will conclude our episode of today. So thank you very much, Christoph.
Thank you very much, Tim, for also for the deep insight and good research knowledge you have. I
Oh,
think you have so much to offer there.
oh, thank you. You're very welcome. And yeah, so then thank you also to all the listeners. And we will link all the things we talked about in the description again, like always. We will be up every second week. So you will hear us again in 2 weeks. And I hope you started well into this new year and hear you again soon. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.